Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that ES broke below the recent two-day lows and found some support and buyers at 09.5 to 10.5. At this point, heading into the open, we're going to be using 16.5 to 18.5 as the micro bull bear zone, and a break and hold above that area would indicate that buyers are still pretty active in the market, and from there we can go up to 22.75 to 24.75, fill the gap, and test 28 to 30, and then that would be the next key inflection point at 28 to 30. And looking at the other markets, we can see that even though things look bearish over the last few days, the other markets actually tested some pretty key support in the overnight session. So NQ and TF are pretty much right at support, and if they hold their overnight lows at that support, then there may not be a whole lot more downside left. So we are going to keep an eye on NQ and TF and see whether they are holding up pretty well on the day time frame after the open, or if they're still being sold into, and if they start breaking their overnight lows, then that would indicate that the market's quite weak and we could go lower. But we just have to realize that those other markets are at a key support area, and buyers can still be active in this market. This is still on the larger time frame. If you look at the daily chart, it's still for the most part a pullback after a pretty strong upside move. So even though short term the markets have been quite bearish over the last few days, bigger picture, it's not like this is a trend change just yet. So we do have to be careful still on the short side, and shorts are working well, but only if you're getting good location. If you're shorting at very aggressive location, or as the market makes new lows, then the short side is not all that well. And we're seeing a lot of rotation and bounces off of support, and some sharp upside moves as well. So we do have to be careful even on the short side and make sure we get pretty decent location, or when we're shorting, there are pretty clear signs of momentum on the downside. So tick holding below zero, price action being quite bearish, internals being bearish, that's where the shorts are really working well. So heading into the open, 16.5, 18.5 is going to be a key spot to establish our short-term bias. If we continue holding below it, then we know that the sell side is still in control. On the downside, 09.5, 10.5 pre-market support. It's already been tested, so at this point, if we go down there, we'll have to be cautious, especially if the other markets are breaking their overnight lows, because then ES could quite easily go down and test 03 to 05, and below that we have naked VPOC at 99.5, open gap 98.5, and every support area on the way down can still attract responsive buyers on first test. So if we break 09.5 here, the 03 area can still attract responsive buyers, and we can still get at the very minimum some rotation off that zone. And depending on how oversold the market gets into it, or if the other markets are hitting another key support, we can even get a reversal off of some of these support zones below. So like I said, even though short term the sellers are in control, it doesn't mean that that has to be the case by the close of today. Buyers can still be pretty aggressive on the day time frame today, and if we break out above 16.5 to 18.5, then even though we have resistance at 22.75 to 24.75, it's not very strong resistance. So we could rotate there, but from there 28 to 30 is really the main inflection point above 16.5 to 18.5, and if we break out above 28 to 30, that would indicate that the downside again could be done, and from there we could see some acceleration to the upside. So heading into today, we have to have a pretty flexible mindset, be willing to go with the flow as far as directional bias goes, but that 16.5 to 18.5 area is pretty key, and if we break out, then the buy side would be in control, and would have to be cautious on the short side. And of course, we'll have to gauge the type of day that's developing as well. If it's more of a balanced type day, then we could still get rotation at resistance, so we can still get, some sort of sell response at initial resistance and at 28 to 30. Doesn't mean it has to be an all-out failure and then go down and make new lows. At that point the market could just start stabilizing a bit and balancing. So that's something that'll need to be gauged, in real time. We can't necessarily plan for every possible scenario, but these are the key reference areas that can help us gauge how strong or weak the market is, and then we'll read the market in real time and see how weak the internals are, how weak the other markets are, or how strong they are, and then based on that, decide which side we want to focus on. So 16.5 to 18.5 is key. On the downside, 09.5 to 10.5 is short-term support. 03 to 05 is important support below, and the 93 quarter, 95 quarter is a support zone where the ES would be quite extended, and it is another key support idea, and buyers can definitely be active there on first test, and can even end the downside move on the day time frame in the event that we do get range extension on the downside. 93 quarter, 95 quarter can shut off the selling and turn the market back around towards 03 to 05 and 9.5 to 10.5. So those are really the main thoughts heading into the open. Let's see how well the other markets are holding up. Let's see how ES is trading in relation to the micro bull bear zone, and we'll take it from there.